Hey everyone, welcome to Judge Jodi, Paxton Road TV's player rating show. We are here to rate our Tottenham Hotspur players on their performances throughout the Premier League season. Today I am joined by a very special guest. I'm sure most of you are very familiar with him. Mr. Paxton Road TV himself, Sam Spurs for life in the house. Sam, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Jodi. It's a pleasure to be here on the second edition.
I know we did such a good job in episode 1 that I've been asked to come back. So, I mean, what can I say?
Well, the only thing I can say is why wasn't I on episode 1? But that's a different
story. Sorry about that. You have to talk to Stuart about that one. How are you today? How are you feeling about yesterday's performance?
Yeah, yesterday's performance was, well, as I said, the performance wasn't the best, but the result was all that was required. I think, as I was saying to a number of people, it's going to be a difference now playing away from home. We've got to take that more into consideration, that obviously the home team is going to have the advantage. Last season, because of COVID and no fans there, it was different. But this season, you can clearly see being at home is definitely an advantage for most teams, apart from the
Definitely. That Wolves crowd as well was insane, wasn't it? It was just insane. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I was very nervous going into that one. I'm always really nervous when we play Wolves, but yesterday was another level. That Wolves side had us by the scruff of the neck from like the very beginning, and I didn't think they were going to let us go.
And that was, I don't think it was a surprise, but it was more surprising that, you know, that I guess Nuno, I don't know if he expected to be so full on, because what I noticed from Wolves yesterday, they were just so intense. Their pressing was intense from minute 1, and I thought second half that they would fall off, but they actually kept on going all the way up to almost pretty much 90 minutes. So
yeah, no.
Credit to them. Credit to them.
I think we've been very lucky to play them like this early in the season, whilst they're still getting used to having Jimenez back. Also Bruno being so new in post as well. I mean, we're extremely lucky with the penalty as well, I think. But overall, I am very happy to pick up those 3 points. So whatever we can take, let's take them.
That's 2 wins in a row. So, you know, we played Man City at home and Wolves away. 2 games which, you know, previously I would have said last season, definitely with the performance that we played against Wolves last season, we would have probably come away with a draw, even maybe lost that game. They did have some clear-cut chances, as we did as well. But
yeah. Okay.
1-0, take that. 2-1.
Let's take it. Get the points in, right?
I want to get it in there as well. Everybody watching, I've predicted both the scores correctly. 1-0.
Yes, you have. Well done. We have to have a special prize for you on that one, I think.
I've already got my prize. I've got my prize. I made my own prize.
Before we get into the ratings, though, do you have a pre-game superstition or a routine that you have to follow before every single match?
Yeah, I can show you. This is it. Here we go. So before every match.
Yes, I've seen you do that before, actually.
Before every stream, I make sure I do a little bit of beard combing. Maybe it's just to get rid of some of these greys in here, just to make sure they're all aligned. But I don't used to think about always wearing a Spurs shirt for the games, but then we started losing quite a lot. I can't remember, it was a few seasons ago, and I was wearing my Spurs shirt for every game, and we just kept losing. So I said, nah, I'm just not going to have that in my head. I'll just wear whatever. But it's more the beard. Make sure for the streams that I'm presentable.
It's on fire. Just a shout out to people we've got in the crowd here. We've got Azza. Hey, Azza. I think we also have Mr. K as well. Hey, Mr. K. Nice to see you there. But yeah, just before we get going, guys, please do make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to Paxton Road TV. We really appreciate all the support we're getting. So, thank you, really.
Thank you very much.
I think, are you ready to get into the ratings then? This is what we're here for. So, shall we get into it?
Let's see. I want to see how close we are. That's what I'm saying. How close we are with the ratings, because I think that there's going to be 100% some ones that I think, where did you get that score? But let's see anyway.
Let's see. Right. First off, we have Mr. Hugo Lloris. What did we do? What are we doing with Hugo? Oh, okay. I mean, for me, I was really impressed with him again in this match. It was his 300th Premier League appearance for Spurs, apparently. So well done to him for that. He had some really lovely saves when the Wolves guys actually had some goals on target. I remember a really nice save from Ruben Neves. But then there was obviously that amazing save when he came out the box. There was a bit of one-on-one action against Traore. That was his main thing for me. I'm always really nervous about Lloris when he comes out like that, but he did really well yesterday for me. So, what are you thinking?
Yeah.
Why the 7?
7, I think generally was under a lot of pressure. I always loathe to give the keeper more than that, because that means that you must have had a phenomenal game or we were under a lot of pressure. Although we were under a lot of pressure, it didn't look like, if I'm honest with you, I didn't at any point get that nervous that they were going to score loads. Apart from that one-on-one with Traore, that was the one I was thinking, but he made a good save. The biggest thing for me at the moment that Hugo Lloris has improved on is his distribution with his feet. He seems to be able to play the ball out in a better fashion than I've seen him I've seen him ever for Spurs, really. So for that reason, I can see that there's something improved in him. His shot stopping is always going to be there. He seems to be able to come for crosses and stuff like that. So again, Hugo Lloris is one of the players that I think has definitely improved under Nuno so far. So justified 7 for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's also kept us 2 clean sheets to start the season as well. So there's not really much more you can say to that for me. So
no,
big up Hugo for me.
Well done, Hugo. And he's in my fantasy team, so that's cool.
Is he? Oh, nice. I didn't get that. So I think who have I got? Sanchez is my keeper. So he did well this weekend as well, but we won't talk about that. We're here to talk about Spurs.
Yes, we are.
Japhet Tanganga. I gave him a 6 this week. I mean, I think he struggled a lot. I think he was trying to do what he was trying to do last weekend against Sterling and Grealish, but Traore was too strong for him, I think, this week. And then he picked up the yellow for the foul on Marçal. I was super nervous about what Traore would do with that yellow, but he picked it up. So I think, big up to him for that. He did look better in the second half for me. I'm just so worried about him picking up injuries all the time. There was
that clash of heads early on was it quite early on? It was definitely in the first half, and I thought, he might not make this rest of this game, but he's a tough lad. He's a tough lad, is Japhet. To be fair to him, up against Traore, that's a tough ask anyway for anybody. And I know Traore was changing sides within the game. But they put him under a lot of pressure. I really think Japhet's a big game player, and I like the fact that the reason I gave him a 7 is because, again, we saw his strength, we saw his ability to be able to recover. I think if he can get forward a little bit more at times, just depending on the situation of the game, I think that's one of the areas I think I'd like to see a little bit more of him going forward. But defensively, because of his centre-back, well, he's a centre-back by trade, I think he's always going to have that defensive quality in him. So 7 clean sheet, again, 2 clean sheets for the defensive back 5. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think he was limited by the pure strength of Adama, wasn't he, yesterday?
Oh, yeah.
So, I maybe I'm being a little bit harsh there with the 6, but I think, I shouldn't compare, but I was kind of comparing about last week, but, I think he does have the strength there, and I'm very excited to see where he goes for us.
Yeah, so. Last week he was phenomenal. So for him to match that again this week is going to be hard to do. But the fact that, again, he didn't make too many mistakes. He was under a lot of pressure. If you're playing against Traore, more often than not, you're going to get beaten by him for strength and even, definitely for pace. But I think he did well. Like I said, considering he had a yellow card for quite a bit of the game as well. Yeah,
definitely. Big up to him for that, I think. Shall we move on? Our favourites. We're coming on to our favourites. And they are becoming our favourites.
This is what I'm scratching my head. I cannot believe I'm giving this guy. Oh my God. The amount of grief. Sorry.
Yeah. No. I mean, I was just going to say, I think he had another really good game. I think, he was also struggling a little bit with Traore. I think he gave away a free kick in the first half, which wasn't great. But then apart from that, he had some decent blocks and he was communicating really well with everybody. Tracking players, has improved as well. And his concentration is so much better than what it was last season. So 100%. I know I shouldn't really be comparing him to last season because it's a new season, but I'm impressed. What do you think?
I am I'm just looking at something here, just because I was like, couldn't believe how much I've had to give this guy praise. I was just referring to him last season by number alone. He was only going to be number 6 because I just didn't want to mention his name because I just didn't think he was good enough. But he's proved me wrong so far this season. I'm going to touch any wood that I can find, because if he continues like this, then we've really got a potential player on our hands here, because he's still young, relatively young. He did cost a lot from Ajax, but he has, alongside Dier, both of those two, which we'll get onto Dier, I guess, in a minute, but those two have been pretty much the rock at the defense, the rocks of the defense. And that, for me, is, I can't believe I'm saying that. Davinson Sánchez, a rock. Oh, it's madness.
It's insane. I don't think any of us would have been thinking that. Like, you know, before the preseason, we were still referring to them as numbers. So
it was terrible. But no, to be fair, you have to give credit. And this is what I try and do. You can't just be on a player's case just because you don't like him. If they play well, you've got to give them the credit. And they have played well throughout pre-season. And in the 3 games, if you include the Arsenal pre-season friendly, obviously Man City, and yesterday's game against Wolves, clean sheets all the way, and they've defended well. They have defended well and limited their mistakes, which is all good for me.
Agree, and that's what I'm trying to do here. I am a judge, and this is a courtroom. So what I want to do is try and not limit them to past seasons and, you know, past mistakes. So it is, for me, I'm going to try and do it by a game-by-game basis if I can.
Oh, Jodi,
not have any biases in there. Just, you know, just do it per game.
Last season, if you was a judge last season, you would have put these two in jail. They would have been in jail.
They'd be locked up for a very long time. Talking about being locked up, I mean, not this week, but Eric Dier. I mean, to be fair, Sam, man of the match. What's going on here?
I
think you need to talk to me about what's happening here.
Again, I'm just gonna take this so we can all see. I've given him man of the match. The reason being, okay, so they had, I think Wolves had about 22 shots on goal, 6 on target. So quite a lot of these shots were blocked or off target, whatever it was. But he cleared everything. Like things, I know there was a mistake he made to give away the ball, and that led to Traore's 1-on-1. But apart from that, I don't remember Dier putting too much of a foot wrong. They were under a lot of pressure, and this is what I'm saying. When I've seen both Dier and Sanchez under a lot of pressure, one of them or both of them give. You know, something gives up in them. But then they have seemed to have at least been able to deal with the pressure a lot better than I've seen them in the past. So, as I said, we were under pressure throughout the whole game. Lloris did well. Japhet did well. The back four in terms did really well because they kept a clean sheet again. And I think Eric Dier deserved that from my perspective.
Yeah, I agree. I think another really good performance from him this week. He had some really good interceptions. I think, you know, there was that really great header that could have, you know, given us another goal around the 85th minute if it connected. You know, he was in the box there and, you know, had it connected, then we would have been singing his praises.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the header as well. Yeah, then he scored.
I thought that's why he gave him man of the match.
If he'd have scored, he'd have definitely got a 9, but he didn't.
Yeah, wow. But, you know, his defending, you know, on the whole has been pretty good as well, I think, compared to the mistakes. And again, I shouldn't be comparing him to last season, but, you know, we are start of the season here, but, you know, the mistakes he was making towards the end of last season, I think he's doing his job.
I was going to ask you a question, then, Jodi. Do you think it's because of the pressure that potentially they're both under because of our signing of Romero?
Yeah.
Do you think that's one of the reasons?
I do. I hope not. I hope this is them just, you know, wanting to step up and show, you know, that I have a place in the team. But then that kind of goes hand in hand, doesn't it?
100%,
saying that Romero's appeared. He's our savior, apparently, in terms of the back line. So, I do think that there is some kind of wanting to keep their place in the team there. But, you know, we'll see what happens, I guess.
We shall see.
We shall see. Moving on to Mr. Sergio Reguilón. I mean, not too far removed from our.
You're a harsh judge, aren't you? You're a harsh judge. I can see already. You're a harsh judge.
I think he was struggling to get forward again in this match. I mean, I don't think that was his fault necessarily. I know he also struggled against Traore a little bit. Yeah, it was pretty quiet down his side of the pitch. So it's not really, I don't think necessarily it's all his fault. I know he's super quick, which is really good to see. And like looking at that stat, 67 touches, it's pretty impressive, I think, for someone, you know, who's there, that for me just didn't impress as much as the others. I just don't think he was able to make any real damage in this game for me. But
I think we all know Sergio's strengths are more going forward than they are defensive qualities. But to be, again, because he's part of that back five, as you want to call it, I think he needs to be collectively part of that success, because, you know, without, you know, certain times of recovery runs, he would have had a lot more space. And Traore, obviously, down that right-hand side when he was up against him, that's going to be a tough task for anybody. And again, I thought, yeah, he's going to get skipped a couple of times, but the players collectively did well to protect each and every one that was up against Traore on a 1v1 basis. But yeah, I think defensively he might need to possibly improve, certainly strength-wise, I think. But going forward, I think Reguilón's one of the best left-backs potentially in the league. So let's hope he continues the trajectory, I'll get that word out, that he's currently on. So yeah, I'm giving him a 7.
Nice. No, good. Do you think he might be stepping up a little bit because he's got Romero and, you know, the Argentinian squad and everything? I'm thinking that maybe that might be helping him as well, just to have a bit of...
That's a good point. I think, again, with him, depending on what Nuno's going to do long-term with this back four or goes to a back five, whether or not he plays wing-back or not, that could potentially mean that someone like Sessegnon could come into play as a wing-back, because I think Sessegnon may be his only real competition. I say only real competition. We have got Ben Davies as left-back, but I don't think Ben Davies has got the ability to go as far forward in terms of attacking as what Reguilón has. But Sessegnon has that potential, particularly at wing-back. So, yeah, he's maybe just working because of the fact that we've got some players back that are going to put him under a bit more pressure.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we'll see. We'll see what happens, really. But shall we move on? Oliver Skipp. Yeah, I think we're on par there, really, aren't we?
Yep.
I think, yeah, there was the clash against Semedo, I think, which was overlooked, and then he was booked for that foul on Traore. I don't really know what was going on with that ref yesterday. He kind of was all over the place with what he was doing. All over the place, wasn't he? Yeah. But I think with Skipp, neither of those things kind of rattled him. He remained composed. That's what I like to see about him. You know, he's such a young guy, but he can, you know, he can stay composed. I think he covered quite a lot of ground as well. He seemed to be, you know, quite dominant against a very aggressive Wolves team. I think he did what he could do. Again, you know, I think they were just too strong for us to for him to make any kind of real...
Yeah, again with Skipp, what I've noticed is he started a bit slowly in the Man City game last week. Again, a similar type thing this week. I'm not quite sure whether or not the 4-3-3 suited him yesterday. I would have liked to have seen a 4-2-3-1 with both him and Højbjerg sitting in behind, let's say, Dele Alli or potentially Moura in front of them, just to give us that bit more protection. Because when you're playing that 3 with, I guess Skipp did play in that centre of that 3, it does expose him when, particularly if it's like Dele Alli goes forward quite a lot. So he's covering a lot of that ground on that left-hand side as well as that central area. And due to the fact that Wolves put us under a lot of pressure and he got the yellow card as well, he was, again, working within himself. I just think as well, the fact that he's only played 2 competitive games in terms of centre midfield for us, and it's not the Championship. So, again, that pace of the game is going to, you know, just as the season goes on, I think he'll get better and better. But yeah, 6, because I think that our midfield was under a lot of pressure yesterday.
Agree. Yeah, and I think there wasn't too much they could do, but good job, I think.
Good job.
Moving on, good job. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. We differ quite a little bit here.
You must like Højbjerg. That's why you've given him a 7. Go on, then.
I don't like him as much as TFC Curse does. I know she's in the chat today. I know she has a big thing for him. So big up Curse. I think he had a decent game. He was able to get the ball back for us on a couple of occasions, I think, which actually allowed us to get a little bit more time on the ball because there wasn't too much time for us there. So I think he did a good job for us in that regard. That's kind of why I gave him that extra point, I think, was that I think he did a little bit of extra work to do that for us. I think I remember a lovely ball up towards Son in the second half, but it didn't connect. So, do you know what? I think, I'm really liking the teamwork that he has between, him and Skipp. I think, I hope that continues throughout the season. But yeah, I just think Højbjerg, he can't put a foot wrong, really. He's what we need in that midfield. I know we do need a little bit more creativity in there, but I think for what we've got at the moment, for me, he's a solid 7. So
he's 100% a soldier. He's one of them players that I think you can put in pretty much any team in the Premier League. I think even someone like Man City would appreciate him because he's a very, very good player. And he's, like I said, he's a workaholic and he's a soldier. He's like, he's going to go into battle. There was obviously times when his level slip and that's noticeable because he's always a consistent player. So when he does have a game which is slightly below par, it's noticeable. And I think the team suffers because of it. Again, yesterday's game, him being on that right-hand side of a midfield 3, he was kind of caught in two minds. Does he go forward and help the attack? Does he have to stay back and protect with Skipp? Again, it was the midfield didn't have, in my opinion, the best game. Apart from Ali, I think he was probably the best of the 3. So Højbjerg again, does Nuno maybe change it slightly depending on who they play? I think he might do because I think Højbjerg playing a little bit deeper for me is better, but he has shown when he played for Denmark in the Euros that he can obviously play higher up as well. So we'll see. We'll see how his position develops as the season goes on. But he's definitely a player, 100% got to play every game.
Definitely. You just make sure he doesn't tire out too much. Who have we got? Dele Alli next. Talking of Dele Alli. All right. So I gave him an 8. And for me, he was the man of the match. And I know Spurs official gave him man of the match. But I think, do you know what? It was just another really impressive performance from him for me. I think obviously he got the penalty, which I think maybe was a little bit of a cheeky move. I think he might stuck his leg out a little bit just to get that penalty, but I'm not complaining about that.
Listen, penalties are part of the game. Winning penalties are part of the game. Whether people like it or not, it's part of the game.
Got to do what you got to do, right?
Exactly. He didn't have to get out of the way. His job is not to get out of the way because the keeper's rushing out at him. His job is to try and get the ball. He got the touch. His leg was there. The keeper hit his leg. Penalty. That's what the rules are. I
mean, I'm not, I don't make the rules.
Exactly. There's no rule to say you have to hit him this hard to get a penalty. If it's a touch and he got touch and he went down, the referee gave it. It's looked at on VAR. They didn't think anything of it. So, again, I'm more than happy with what Dele did yesterday. And I would have given him an 8. But the fact, as I said, I just thought because the defenders had to do a bit more work in the midfielders, maybe could have done a little bit more to protect him. I gave Dier that. But Dele Alli was very much a close second.
Yeah. I mean, I think he had a couple of, impressive blocks. Defensively, he was on point for me. I remember he stopped Jimenez from scoring. There, he was up and down the pitch throughout the whole match for me. I've seen a vast improvement in him defensively, and also, fitness-wise as well. I'm just so excited to see what we can get out of him this season. It's just so lovely to see him getting time on the pitch compared to sort of what happened last year as well. And I know one of our regulars, Sid, loves Dele Alli, and he's in the house, and I know Sid loves Dele, so
Sid,
Dele.
Absolutely. And I said I was one to ridicule him last season, call him Dele Marley. We had Simon calling him Dele Hullet because he thought he was the next Dele Hullet or whatever. But to be fair, again, he covered, I think, the most ground of any Spurs player yesterday. And what Dele's now doing well is not only is he getting forward, but his recovery to get back. As you mentioned, the blocks that he did, in his own area, which, again, we haven't seen that for a long time. I don't think we've seen consistently Dele Alli working so hard to get back and to get forward. If he can continue that as a midfielder, he's only going to improve us as a team going forward. So let's hope this is a massive corner turn for him, because we want to see Dele Alli. As I said, I think he can be that number 8. I don't believe he's just a player that can just get in the box and score goals. I think he's got a complete game to him, but he needs to prove that on a more consistent basis.
Definitely. And I'm excited. Let's see what happens.
Dele.
Sid, maybe you need to put a new show out, just a Dele special or something.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Oh, jeez. More fire. More fuel for Sid. More fuel.
Let's move on, shall we? Lucas Moura. Oh, dear. Oh, wow. You said I mean, yeah, I am being a judge, aren't I? I mean, for me, not a great match for Lucas.
Harsh.
I was singing his praises last week. I guess it's harsh, but like, I mean, I think he had a couple of good runs in the first half. But yeah, Wolves like quickly took control of the game again after that. He got a free kick early in the second half, I think. I mean, maybe I'm being a bit harsh on my score, but in comparison to the game against City, he just didn't look on it at all for me.
I'm just glad that you're not a real judge and I'm in court with you, because you're going to jail. There's no way you'd get like a parking fine. You're going to jail. That's what it seems like to me with these scores, Jodi. Yeah, I think it wasn't his best game. I admit he wasn't in as much involved. I think he was having to probably work the other way a little bit more than he probably wanted to. But again, Moura is one of them players that really seems to work hard for us. He's probably a manager's dream. The fact that he's played pretty much every game throughout pre-season, even going into this, it looks as if he's going to be one of the players that's going to be a mainstay in the team. Depending on this rumor about Traore, and maybe Sid will discuss that in a further transfer show, that's maybe going to put a bit more pressure on him. But I think Lucas is going to have a big season for us. I just think yesterday's game was one of them games which is tough for everybody in midfield. And forward.
I think so. I mean, I just hope that, we don't see a repeat of kind of what happened last season with Lucas, in terms of we see some good stints and then we see some, not so good stints. So I'm hoping that he can just, maybe this is just a one-off and he'll come back better and bigger against.
I'm just reading this. Sid says Sid's Daily Deli coming soon on Paxton Road TV.
You heard it here first, guys.
Oh, man. I told you, giving him too much fuel. It's just not right.
Well, Sid says it's coming to an end soon, isn't it? We need to have something. We need to.
Oh, they'll 100%. There'll be something else. No doubt about that. No doubt.
All right, let's move on, shall we? Oh, Sonny. My boy, Sonny. I was so gutted when he came off for Kane. I was waving goodbye to so many fantasy points. But I know he was struggling with an injury, so I can't, I can't put that against him. It was the right thing to do, I think, to make sure he's fit for Watford. I don't really remember him having the ball at all in the first half, though.
Well, there was the first half. What opportunity did he get? And that was second half, actually. Yeah, because there was that one in the second half where Bergwijn got through. He had the shot. Sonny then picked up the rebound. He had the shot. And like I said, there was that little passage of play. But again, Sonny was. I think Wolves defended quite well against him, just to be honest. And again, maybe that injury was a little bit more affecting than we probably give him credit for. And the fact when I saw him come off, I was like, oh no, we can't take Son off. Not for Kane. I would have thought it was going to be one of the other two, but then obviously it transpired that he was probably carrying a bit of a knock. So the right decision. And Sonny will obviously come good. He's one of the top players in our team, so he's allowed to have a little bit of an off day.
I think so. I think he was, like you said, I think he was conscious of his injury and not wanting to get hurt. And I think especially because it was such an aggressive match, maybe he was just a little bit like, I don't want any of this. But yeah, I think his corners and set pieces again on point. Pretty much like throughout the game, and all I can ask for is like progression from him going into the next match, and hopefully he's back on form for Watford. So yeah,
that's 100% improved. Like I said, his corner taking, his delivery from set pieces is one thing that I think we've struggled with. Somebody delivering really quality corners, even free kicks and stuff like that. We need to pick up more goals definitely from corners. We need to be You know, that's all part of the game as well. So if we can pick up maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sort of set pieces, I'd be happy with that. But
definitely, yeah. I agree. Like, big up Sonny again. I'm biased. I shouldn't be because I'm a judge. So okay, let's move on. Steven Bergwijn. Oh, okay. We differ here a little bit as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to say, I don't think he had a very good first half. There was that terrible pass to Ali, which, you know, could have led to another goal.
Yeah.
Wasn't set up correctly. Wasn't great. But he opened up more in the second half. There were a couple of good balls up towards Son. I think, you know, there was that lovely play setting up the ball for Kane towards the end of the match.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did a really good job both attacking and defending, which is why I think I gave him like the extra point, because, you know, got to judge people on both, you know, attacking and defending. So, what do you think?
So with Bergwijn, and again, he's probably a manager's dream. I think he's another player that looks like he's really developed from having Nuno coaching him. His work rate is really good, going back, as you said, and also going forward. The thing which is I've given him the scores is because that end product of it, if he can develop finishing, if he can maybe get that final pass correctly, he's going to be getting 7 and 8s most weeks, because he's got phenomenal pace. Yeah. He's a strong guy. What that little bit of skill that he did on the touchline to beat pretty much 3 Wolves players, I've looked at it a number of times. I'm thinking, wow, that's really good. He's got so much talent, and he's still young. Yeah. He just needs to get that final little bit of the jigsaw, which is his finishing and what he does in the final third. And I think he's going to really kick on as well. So I hope he continues in the team, but it wouldn't surprise me if, you know, the pressure that's maybe applied by having another, let's say, another forward brought in, that might again push him on. Let's see if he can adapt and deal with the pressure.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like you said, I think there's a really good player in there. I've always thought that about Bergwijn ever since he came in. I just think that he needs playing time and he needs goals. He needs that confidence, and he's not really, you know, been given that in the past. So I guess we'll have to see what happens in the next week or so in terms of ingoings and outgoings. But yeah, for me, I think it's there. We just need to see it.
Yeah.
Moving on to our subs. So Giovani Lo Celso, I think we might agree there on Tommy. He came on for Moura in the 66th minute, I think. For me, didn't make any mistakes while he was on. He was doing his best to kind of break through. You know, that tough Wolves side, you know, he did what he could, I think. From my side, not really a whole lot to say. He didn't do anything spectacular, but he also, you know, helped push the game along. But I don't know.
Yeah, he held the ball well. I think in the last few minutes, I remember him carrying the ball and then staying in the corner flag area and being able to hold players off. So he's got strength. He's, you know, that sort of Argentinian, you know, aggression that he's got. It's good to see. He didn't do loads. He didn't really have much to kind of have one. So he didn't have enough time to do much. I want to see more from Gio. He's one of the players that I've always said I think he's really talented. Whether or not he's got a position into what I mean by that is he going to be a number 10? Is he going to be a number 8? Is he going to be someone that plays a little bit deeper? I'm still not quite sure if we're quite sure that what he's going to be. I'd like to see him a little bit further up. I'd like to see him playing them threaded balls, because I think with that ability to be able to do the attacking side of things, again, I think he's got the athletic ability to get up and down, although his fitness has come into question at times. I want to see more. I like this player. I just want to see him get an opportunity, maybe in a more central area, maybe just behind the strikers, but that ability to maybe work. So again, the change of formation to a 4-2-3-1 could suit him. But then who do you drop to bring him in to start? Would you drop Dele? I'm not quite sure at this moment in time.
Yeah, I agree. I think. Do you think we'll see him play on Thursday? Or?
I hope we do, because I think he needs to get more minutes to get back up to speed. He had a good Copa America, and then obviously with that he needed a bit of a rest, and then your fitness levels do drop, and it's going to take a little bit of time for your touch to come back. Not so much his overall fitness, but just that match fitness. I think match sharpness. I think that's the phrase, match sharpness.
getting back to it. Yeah. I agree. Okay. All right. The infamous Harry Kane. Oof. I mean, yeah, I just had no idea. I mean, did any of us think he was? I didn't know. It was touch and go there. I didn't know if he was going to come on, if he wasn't going to come on. I think we were all in the same position. We all saw him like warming up and everything, but it was kind of like, is he actually going to come on the pitch? You know, he came off with Son. He had a really nice reception from the Spurs fans, I think. I was a bit worried about, I was worried about what was going to happen, like after, you know, what happened last week. That was nice, I think, from the Spurs fans. So big up all the Spurs fans for that. I think, you know, I actually think it looked like we were playing slightly better when he came on. He had a couple of good blocks. He did miss a chance at goal. Obviously, you know, got the yellow card for time wasting. And I think, you know, maybe that deserves a bit of a guilty verdict from Harry Kane from my books. But I don't know. What do you think?
See, with Harry Kane, one thing about the fans, it was really good to hear that, and that's the first thing to point out. We've got to make this player know that we want him to stay. I know there's a lot of divisiveness about is he wanting to actually be at Spurs, and people are saying, "I'll get rid of him" or not get rid of him. I don't know what's the best thing in terms of how we deal with Harry Kane up until the close of the transfer window. I didn't think we were going to see him until after the window closes. I'm now of the opinion that he's going to stay because of the fact that I don't think we've got enough time. But we don't know. Obviously, we've still got a week or so to go. But when he did come on, what I did like about him, his body language seemed to me to say that, right, okay, I'm here now. I'm going to get involved in this game. And he did do, I think he was on for about 20 minutes. He had the opportunity to score. Bergwijn and him down that side combined well. Harry Kane will obviously score goals, regardless of, I guess, where and when he plays. So it's a case of now just getting his mind right, which might be, does he play on Thursday? I don't know. I would play him on Thursday just to kind of say, well, look, you know, let's show us what you got, even playing against someone like Paqueta Ferreira. But whether or not that happens, I'm not entirely sure. But it's good to see him playing for Spurs. I didn't think we would, to be honest.
Yeah, I didn't think we'd ever see him again, to be honest with you. I'm still in that camp, and I don't want to get into it because there's so many streams and things that talk about Harry Kane, but like I just didn't think we'd ever see him again. I was happy to see him, to be fair, and you know, if we can keep him for the season, we need him. So, well, I don't know. Do we need him?
It's going to be just again. It's going to mean a slight change, obviously, in the personnel. So again, because Harry Kane, world-class striker, you're going to want him in the team more often than not. Son's been playing centrally. That means Son would probably go back to the left and Harry Kane will go central. So that means would you lose Bergwijn or would you lose Moura, depending on what side either of them play? Or is that going to be Dele Alli? I don't know, play a slightly different formation. There's so many ifs and buts when Kane actually is fully fledged back into the team.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good problem to have for Nuno because he's world-class.
Yeah, I agree. We'll see what happens in 8 days then, shall we?
Yes.
Moving on to our other Harry. Silence. No. Harry Winks. I mean, came on for Bergwijn in the 90th minute. To be fair, I didn't give him a rating, as you can see. I didn't see enough of him to give him a rating. I didn't think his little stint was worth it, to be honest. I mean, what contributes to 5.5 in your eyes?
He didn't cause us to concede. You know what I mean? So from that perspective, you know, we didn't concede a goal. He had a couple of touches. He did what Harry Winks for me at the moment is a player that's just, he almost looks like he's going through the motions. Whether or not he believes he's gonna be a part of the team and squad going forward, or is he just kind of saying to himself, you know what, I've signed up for however many years on a contract and I'm just going to play. For him, I really hope if it was me in his position, I'd want to move on because I don't believe we're going to be reliant on Harry Winks. Every time I've seen him start, he slows the game down for me. He doesn't always look forward. But again, that might not be his fault. Is his position where we playing him in that midfield? Is he more an attacking midfielder? I don't know with Harry Winks. All I do know is that I don't think he's going to get as much minutes for us this season. So for his career, I would want him to move somewhere where he's going to get the minutes, potentially. Yeah. But 5.5 because we didn't concede a goal. So that's it.
I love it. I mean, that's really going to do it for our ratings this week. I mean, overall, I think the communication, teamwork, and fitness has definitely improved under Nuno. I mean, I don't know what you think about that.
100%.
And I think, I don't know if people saw, but after me saying it was a no to Nuno a few months ago, I'm really actually starting to love that guy.
Oh, you know what? I think that I was worried about the dealing with the press, the pressure, having to handle all the stuff about Harry Kane, which has been thrown at him. Literally, obviously, he's now having to deal with Dembele's situation. You know, he's getting questions about everything, and I didn't know if he was going to be able to deal with that pressure. So far, from what I'm seeing from him, I'm liking how he's dealing with the press. I really am. I'm impressed with it. So again, the players have got an improved fitness level. We've got definitely something about us defensively, which he's renowned for being a good defensive coach anyway. So it's proving to be good. If we can get them goals alongside with Harry Kane coming back in, we've got a potentially, let's say again, there's wood around me, so I'm going to touch it. We could have some really good games coming to look forward to for a season.
I hope so. I really do. I mean, we have, talking about games, we've got Paços de Ferreira, round 2 on Thursday, and then Watford at home on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we'll see a more strengthened squad on Thursday?
100%. Yeah, definitely. I would expect to see the likes of, maybe not starting, but again, I mean, I'm a bit in between. Does Harry Kane starts on Thursday? He'd probably look at it and think to himself, I don't need to be starting that sort of game. And maybe his mentality might be that. But I would just like to see him start just to show what that mentality is, you know. Prove yourself to the Spurs fans. Prove yourself to the manager. Because if he goes out and plays anywhere to his level, he should get at least a couple of goals on Thursday, regardless. Because being at home, you know, if we've got a bit more in midfield, we will get opportunities to score, and he's the main man to score goals along with Son.
100%. I mean, I keep saying I'm expecting to see him, but I think I'd expect to see him in that lineup for Thursday. It is at home, like you say, so there's no reason for him not to be there. If he played on Sunday, then he should be there on Thursday. So I guess we'll have to see what happens again with Harry Kane. Any early predictions for Watford at all?
I think you're really putting me on the spot here. Well, depending on what happens between now and Sunday in terms of players and fitness and all the rest of it, we've still got to know whether players are going to come in, whether players are going to... Someone like Ndombele, I'd love to see him play, but it doesn't look like he's going to play anytime soon. I think we've got enough to do Watford, particularly at home, and I'm early doors going to give a 2-0 shout out.
Oh, 2-0, not 1-0. 2-0.
Not 1-0, 2-0 this time. 2 goals.
All right, we'll see what happens. I mean, for me, I just hope we come away with another 3 points. I think get as much of the lead as we can before we have that really busy period, you know, early next year. I think it's April time that we've got a pretty shaky period there.
Well, we've got, to be fair, we've got, I think Arsenal, Chelsea, is it Man United coming up in the next at least month and a bit, 6 weeks or so.
Okay,
so we have got a tough period coming up.
Points now, don't we?
Yeah, definitely need to get some points now. But again, I think if the confidence is there from the defensive perspective, we just need to get people like Harry Kane involved, getting the goals, Son obviously getting the goals. And if we can keep the defensive side as strong as we are looking at the moment, no reason why we can't be doing top of the league business like we did at November last year. And look what happened there. Anyway, that's not the story.
All right. Well, I mean, for the show, it's another pretty positive match, I think, in terms of ratings. Just a reminder that we're going to be starting Crime Crime of the Week very soon. So if anybody in the chat has any nominations, this can be for like both on-pitch and off-pitch activities. Please send them through to me via my Twitter handle @Spursy141.
What's this called? Crime of the Week.
Crime of the Week. I'm thinking Dele Drip might feature quite a bit this season. Obviously, if there's any more Harry Kane disasters, that can be thrown in as well.
I like that.
I'm pretty sure Levy, he's not going to get let off lightly either. So yeah, if anyone has any suggestions or nominations for Crime of the Week, hit me up.
And the judge that you are, as I said, whoever has and commits any crime, be prepared for jail. That's it.
Yes, you will. Actually, I should just get this bad boy out as well. Okay, guys, this is going to do it for this week's show. Sam, is there anything that you wanted to promote before we wrap up the show?
Yes. As well as this show, Judge Jodi every week, every Premier League game. Look out for Sid Says as well, Mondays and Fridays. Hopefully, Darius 3K, if you're watching, has agreed to do a lineup show. So we're going to do a predicted lineup show for Premier League games. I may do a predicted lineup show for the other games, either the cup games and also the European, UCL or UECL. Yeah. So just to kind of give a predicted lineup a few hours before the game, or maybe even the day before. So again, we've got more content coming. So look out for that.
And you also failed to mention Transfer Deadline Day. We've got a fully stacked show with a load of people from the FTB family. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you join us for that on the 31st of August as well. Yeah,
join us on FTB for that Transfer Deadline Day special. Let's hope. I don't know if it's a good thing or not to have a good thing to have a lot of, Tottenham talk on Transfer Deadline Day. In the past, it's always been our day. It's not been so much in the last couple of years, but I'm excited if we do have things that's going to happen on Deadline Day. Just don't want to see Harry Kane go on Deadline Day. That would be,
I think we're going to have to hold a vigil or something if that happens that way.
True.
But yeah, that's going to do it, guys. I hope everybody enjoyed the show today. Thank you so much for watching. I've been Judge Jodi. He's been Sam Spurs for Life. Have an awesome week, everybody. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.